Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional or an organizational leader, a student, or simply a curious mind seeking to understand the evolving threat landscape, this video is for you. In today's digital battlefield, advanced persistent threat or APTs represent the most insidious and long running form of cyber attacks. These aren't just random intrusions. APTs are targeted, strategic, and persistent campaigns orchestrated by highly skilled threat actors, often backed by organized crime or nation state interest. They infiltrate not just systems but the very trust structures we rely on. They don't smash through the front door. They observe, they adapt, and they stay hidden for weeks, months, or even for years. Their objective to silently gather intelligence, steal data, disrupt operations, or influence outcome, all the while in most cases staying undetected. In this video, we'll break down the core characteristics of APTs, from targeted attacks and multiple entry points to command and control infrastructure, data exfiltration, and long term operations supported by highly skilled teams. We'll explore how attackers move through the cyber kill chain, a proven model from Lockheed Martin that helps us understand an APT's life cycle, from reconnaissance and weaponization to delivery, exploitation, installation, and ultimately command and control, culminating in their end game, action on the objective. This session isn't just to show you how they attack, it's designed to empower you with the knowledge to prepare, protect, and respond. We'll explore how organizations and individuals alike can build multi layered defenses, reduce exposure, detect anomalies early on, and when possible, even push back with proactive containment strategies. Whether you are defending a network, advising leadership, or building personal awareness, this video is your toolkit to understanding and responding to one of the most serious threat in cyberspace today. This is your host, Savit Vittal Salian, and with permission from my mentor Sri Ganapati and Sri Ekadanta, and thanking Mr. Chandrasekhar and Mrs. Kanchana, let's get started and let's stay one step ahead of the adversaries. Namaskar. In today's evolving threat landscape, advanced persistent threats or APTs represent one of the most formidable and complex challenges facing organizations worldwide. Unlike traditional cyber attacks that are opportunistic and quick, APTs are highly targeted, stealthy, and long term operations conducted by well resourced adversaries, often state sponsored or part of an organized cybercrime groups. These attackers gain unauthorized access to a network, remain undetected for an extended period of time, and strategically maneuver through the system to fulfill objectives such as espionage, intellectual property theft, financial frauds, or critical infrastructure disruption. What sets APT apart is their level of sophistication, patience, and persistence. They follow a structured life cycle, leveraging techniques such as custom malware, zero day exploits, social engineering, and covert command and control communication, often bypassing traditional security controls. For senior leadership, the threat of APT is not just a technical issue, it's a strategic business risk. These attacks can cause significant financial losses, reputational damage, legal liability, and operational disruption. As a custodian of organizations' resilience, it is imperative that we understand the tactics, technique, and procedures or TTPs of APT actors and adapt a proactive, layered defense strategy aligned with models like the cyber kill chain and the MITRE attack framework. So now, what is an advanced persistent threat or APT? Well, an advanced persistent threat or APT is a stealthy and sophisticated cyber attack launched by a highly skilled group, often sponsored by a nation state or organized criminal syndicates. Their goal? To infiltrate a network, stay hidden for a long time, and steal sensitive information or sabotage operations. Let's try to break into the details. Well, starts off with advanced, which is they use cutting edge tools and techniques, custom malware, zero day exploit, and sophisticated phishing beyond what a typical hacker uses. They don't just hit and run, they stay inside the network quietly for months, weeks, or in many cases, years, slowly expanding their access. They are not casual hackers, they are strategic actors, cyber criminals, spies, or military units with clear objectives. From a core characteristics of APT, well, starts with targeted, which is the APT focuses on specific victims like the government agencies, critical infrastructure, financial institutions, defense contractors, or research labs. Do note, it could also be you. They aim to stay inside undetected and slowly gathering their intelligence or exfiltrating data. Think of them like cyber special force team, skilled, well funded, and more importantly, disciplined. They often use several techniques. Could be spear phishing, supply chain attacks, watering holes to get in. They maintain a covert line of communication and compromise systems to issue commands. The ultimate goal is to steal or manipulate valuable data, intellectual property, defense secrets, strategic plan, etc. Let's now look at the first aspect of characteristics of APTs. That's targeted. Well, unlike opportunistic cyber attacks that cast a wide net hoping for random successes, APTs are deliberately targeted. The adversaries select a specific organization or a sector or individual based on strategic value. These targets are often selected for geopolitical or economic or for intelligence gathering reasons. It starts with the victim selection based on strategic interest, could be national defenses, intellectual property, political influence, or often aligned with the goals of a nation state or organized cyber criminal syndicate. Or industries commonly targeted in these cases are BFSI sector, energy, defense, healthcare, telecom, and critical infrastructure. Then it goes into profiling and intelligence gathering. APT actor conducts deep reconnaissance to gather information about the organization structure, the IT infrastructure, which includes your domains, the IP, the technologies that you are using. Who are the key persons using social tools like LinkedIn, social media, public appearances, etc., or supply chain and third party vendors. Once done, then they tailor the attack. This could be through spear phishing emails designed using personalized content. Do note, the personalized comes from their profile and intelligence gathering phase, which comes from the victim selection phase. So this is how the workflow moves. So once the spear phishing emails designed using personalized contact are in place, there's malware customized to exploit specific OS version, configuration, or known vulnerability in the environment. That's built. Then infrastructure setup, example spoof domain, lookalike website to align with the target's business contact are targeted. Then adversaries mimic internal employee, vendors, or regulators to build trust and execute the initial intrusion. Now, for organizations, cyber experts, professionals, think through this situation and think through, are you in a similar situation to getting exploited? Are you the victim? Is your organization a potential victim? The answer could be yes in most cases. It is a matter of time. If you are not aware, then it is potentially you already are and you are not aware of it. Example of real world targeting tactics. Spear phishing. It's about crafting personalized message using data from social media and data leaks. Now, here you have to be conscious. What is that you are disclosing in your social media? An individual can expose a lot of information about the organization they represent. Next is supply chain compromises, which is infiltrating less secure third party providers to gain indirect access. So you might be secured to a certain extent, but are your vendors, are your third party secured? This is where I would say pause, think through about it. If you need insight on third party, there are videos on this I have uploaded earlier on third party risk management. You can reference that and you can get a deeper insight and you can start your planning activity. The next tactic is domain spoofing, which is registering domains similar to the targets to trick the users. For an organization, you need to look at, are there similar domain names as yours? Have you thought about how you are going to secure it? Is it possible to secure now? Or are you going to register something new? And have you thought about all the combinations, potential combinations, which would look alike your website or your domain names? The next is watering hole attacks. This is compromising your website frequented by target employees. From a defensive perspective, the suggestion here is reduce your digital footprint. Monitor or for exposed credentials. Limit your social media oversharing. This is not just an organization, it is individuals of the organization. Do you have a social media policy? What to disclose, what not to? Example, people or individuals list out their skills, and in doing so they also list out the product that they are supporting, the technologies that they are supporting. Many a times it is the make, the model, the version that they are supporting. Now that's an exposure, isn't it? Think through, by looking at an individual, and the individual has listed all the skills and the product that he has worked for that organization, it exposes that organization's details. I know that this company uses these type of products and these type of technologies. It's a easy low hanging fruit for any cyber attackers. Organizations need to think through their policies, articulate it, make the individuals aware about it. That's reducing your digital footprint. Threat intelligence integration. Track mention of brands, employee, and infrastructure in dark web and OSINT sources. Do you have a team within your organization who tracks this? If not, is it worth having it? Or is it worth to subscribe for services who actually are looking at these spaces? Next is spear phishing defenses. Use anti-phishing technical, simulate attacks, more importantly, train the employee. From a vendor risk management perspective, secure third party connection and continuously assess partners' security posture. Next is deception technology. Plant false targets or canary tokens to detect adversaries' interest. Now, this is a specialized area. You need specialists who can design such things for you. So, that's where your skills will come into play. What type of skills? Do you have a skill who or group of people who can get this for you? Well, the strategic perspective at this phase of targeted is APT actors do not go after low hanging fruits. They go after high value targets. Their precision and patience requires us to assume that we are being watched and analyzed long before an attack begins. Our best defense is visibility, hygiene, and readiness. Next is long term operations. An APT is not a smash and grab cyber attack. Instead, it's a carefully planned, slow burning operation designed to infiltrate a target, remain undetected for months or even years, and gradually achieve strategic objectives such as espionage, data theft, sabotage, or just influence. So, what long term really means in an APT campaign? Well, it means extended dwell time, modular and adaptive tactics, phased approach, and human operated. Now, let's look at each of them. Extended dwell time, what it means? APT often remain inside networks for 100 to 300 plus days. It's observed before actually getting detected. During this time, attackers study the environment, escalate their privileges, and move laterally to reach high value systems. So it is a slow worm. In the second part, they adjust techniques in response to network changes, patch deployments, or security improvement. Do note, you might have patched a particular vulnerability, but APT is smart enough, or the actors are smart enough to move to something else which can ensure they stay where they are and they are safe. It's continuously evolving. Now, once that is done, malware is regularly updated, recompiled, or obfuscated to evade detection tools. Others is a challenge. We depend on tools, rightly so, to detect. But in an APT space, the actors, they would continuously evolve themselves to avoid the tools. But do note, they would already know about the tools. They are experts in it. They would have studied about it. Now think through if your staff or employee has declared unknowingly what tools he is working on, what great things he has achieved using the tool. That's a window and opportunity for an attacker in this space to know what is that they are using. Now, do you recollect what was discussed earlier? This is a window. Hence, what do you declare is, or what do you claim is a good entry point for these attacks? Then APT operates in phases. It starts with infiltration, internal recon, lateral movement, data staging, exfiltration, and persistent reinforcement. We'll go through this as we move in the video. Then attacker uses redundant backdoors to ensure access even if one method is discovered. APTs are often guided by skilled human operators rather than fully automated scripts. Now that's real. You depend on tools, rightly so, for efficiency. But in APT part, well, that is a fact, but to become effective, there is constant skills which are at play, which study, which improves, which devises methods and techniques. These operators monitor altering tools, alerting tools, and adapt in real time to bypass controls. Example of long-term operation. Some of the cases here. The group A, these are APT 29, also known as Cozy Bear. They were there in the system for 12 months. The target was US government. Outcome, stealthy data access and intelligence gathering. The next was Command Crew. It was years, just not 12 months. It targeted global tech and manufacturing organization. Ongoing IP theft and espionage was the outcome. Similarly, Lazarus Group, multi-year campaign, targeted BFSI and cryptocurrency. Outcome, financial theft, surveillance, geopolitical disruptions. Now, from a defensive perspective, one is expected. How do you defend against these? Well, deploy EDR or XDR with long retention and behavior analytics in place. It's one of the most critical aspects in building your defenses. If you don't have it already, time to think about it, or get in a third party who specializes in this and they can get it for you. Next, simulate multi-phase attacks to test detection and containment. That's where the different teams you can build in who can simulate this. A critical aspect to actually know what you think and what's there on the ground matches. But if there is a gap, then you know what the gap is, so you can move from the current state to the target state. Next, proactively search for dormant C2s, beacons, or signs of persistence. Now, this is a difficult aspect. You are completely relying on a tool which you can rely, but if it is completely, then do note that tool is also known to the threat actor. They would have specialized, they would have mastered it. So if you believe your tool can detect, I think you should relook at it. Use SIEM or SOAR platforms to correlate anomalies across months. It's not about I got an alert, I acted on it. In these cases, you might not even get an alert because the other party is smart enough to evade the threshold which could trigger an alert. And again, it would trigger an alert by a tool, and the tool is known to the threat actor, and you would have already found a way how to stay under the radar. enforce immutable, segmented, and frequently tested backups. Why this matters to leadership? Well, APTs are not an incident, they are a campaign. The business risk accumulates over time with slow but strategic extraction of value. Long-term operation pose a regulatory and reputational threat, especially if detected late or publicly disclosed. The strategic perspective in this aspect is APT actors don't just break in and leave, they move in. So they don't just come in and do their activity and run off. They come in and stay. They adapt, they evolve and blend in with normal activity to silently execute their mission over time. This calls for a security posture that emphasizes detection depth, forensic readiness, and behavioral intelligence. Let's now look at the modus operandi on how APT actors stay undetected inside systems. Starts off with initial infiltration without raising the alarm. APT actors carefully choose low noise entry points such as spear phishing, highly customized emails with malicious attachments or links tailored to the victim, or exploiting zero-day vulnerability, which is about unknown security flaws in software that haven't been patched yet. Or they compromise the supply chain. That's by inserting malware into trusted vendor software updates or tools. Or use the watering hole attacks, which is hacking website commonly visited by the target to serve malware. Now question is why it works? Well, these methods mimic legitimate behavior or exploit unknown flaws, bypassing traditional security system. Hence, these are known or called as low noise entry points. The next is establishing persistence, that is surviving reboots and logouts. At this stage, once inside, APT plant tools that allow them to come back even after a system is restarted. Done through backdoor, which is covert communication channel to remotely control the systems. Second is rootkits, which is stealthy programs that hide processes, files, and network activity from operating systems and antivirus tools. Now, this is a problem. We rely today on antiviruses. If it can bypass, just imagine your visibility from 100% that you thought about, it would have come down way below your comfort level. The next is registry modification or startup script. That is ensuring malware runs on a system which are rebooted. So they have a hook into your system no matter what you do. If it is reboot is your plan, if that is your strategy, it will not go away. The next is about credential theft and reuse. They use stolen password, which lets them to log in like real users. Now, why does it work? Well, these mechanisms are embedded deeply into systems and disguised as legitimate files or processes. The next is privilege escalation, which is about gaining more power. Well, APT rarely stops at their initial access level. They exploit system misconfiguration or known privilege escalation vulnerabilities. They steal admin credentials via mimics or key logging or pass the hash attack. Create hidden admin accounts for fallback access. Now, why does it work? Well, many organizations don't regularly monitor for privilege changes or new admin account. If your organization falls into this, think through the risk that you are looking at, the potential impact that could be hitting your way. You might have a good junior level management, but a senior level management doesn't believe or is not interested as you are. This is one of the aspects that you need to bring in, or the senior management knows about it, the junior management is not in line. This is a time to have a conversation, providing them the perspective, because it's all about matter of perspectives. The next is lateral movement, which is spreading quietly across networks. Instead of immediately stealing data, they slowly move from one system to another. Like use stolen credential to access internal system, like remote desktop, SMB, etc. Or scan for sensitive servers or databases using tools like PSEX, PowerShell script, or custom malwares, or install malware incrementally across system to expand their foothold. Now, why does this work? Well, movements resemble those of regular user or admin, making it hard to detect. You can pause, think through how you, as an SME, as an expert in the organization, can differentiate movements of regular user and an APT actor. Can you today? Is it feasible? Do you have a mechanism in place to identify or differentiate this movement? The next is living off the land, that is using built-in tools. APTs prefer to use tools already present on the system. That's your system using your tools. Could be PowerShell, WMI, Window Tracker Scheduler used for executing commands and automation, or certutil or bits admin to download malicious payloads, or PSEX, RDP, SSH for remote access. This is called living off the land, using what's already there, so no new programs are flagged. Think through. An APT actor comes into your system, stays into the system, uses your system against you. Is that a possibility in your organization? Yes. Now, why does it work? Well, legitimate tools don't trigger alarm in most antivirus or security system because it would think this is your own tool. The trick here is, are you monitoring your tool's behavior against what's acceptable, what's known, and what's unknown or unacceptable? Do you have that granular control over your own tools? Do you believe it to be so? Or are you missing a big point here? The next aspect is data exfiltrate. Is slowly, silently, stealthily. They don't dump huge file all at once. Instead, they encrypt the stolen data, breaks it into small pieces. They use HTTPS, DNS tunneling, or custom C2 channels to smuggle that data out right in front of your tools, right in front of your expert, right in front of the various checks and balances you would have. They would sneak your confidential data in front of you and you would not have a single alert coming up. The thought process is, do you have the tool tuned? Does it know how to differentiate anomalies which can identify something moving which shouldn't move. They disguise exfiltrated data as normal web traffic or send it to a cloud storage, Dropbox or OneDrive. Now, why does this work? Well, trickle of data over a time look like standard business activity. Again, you have to remember who is this actor. They are not in a hurry. They are there for as long it is required. And they use that to our advantage. It's not a 1 GB data moving out. It could be few K of data, but moving continuously. End of the day, it could be a GB data, but when you look at it, it won't look like abnormal traffic. It could be days, weeks, months, years. So, are you ready for it? Do you think your systems and experts are aligned for this? Seventh aspect is anti-forensic and log cleaning. They hide the trail. Before leaving or to continue stay hidden, they delete or alter log files that record systems and user activity. Now, some of the experts will say, yes, I can do everything. I can identify because I have a log which will record any abnormal activity. But ATP actors are already one step ahead. They would perform their activity. Logs, yes, get recorded, all the activity, but they go and clean that log. By the time you come in, or your tools come in for review, there is no evidence that a crime has occurred. How do you deal with that? What's the control that you have on your log file alteration? Can a log file be altered? If it can be, what is your thought process? What's your strategy that it's locked? They timestamp files to change their creation date. They're smart enough to know any changes to the log file also has a change in the time, but they are one step ahead and even work on the timestamp. They encrypt command history or rename malware binaries to mimic system process. What's your mechanism to differentiate between a normal system process and a modified or an compromised system process? Now, why this works? Well, without logs or with tampered log, tracing the attack path becomes extremely difficult. So, what's your strategy on this? The eighth aspect on how APT actors stay undetected, it's long-term dormancy. It's hiding in plain sight. If you're a large organization or a critical organization, do note they are there in front of you, but you don't know how to differentiate. Very difficult. You are dealing with a person or an organization who is smarter than you or potentially smart as you are, but always trying to improve on it so that they stay just one step. They don't need to be 10 steps ahead of you. They just need to be one step ahead of you and they are invisible. So, do you have a mechanism wherein you can see through this? Do you have a tool? Do you have the skill set? Do you have the expertise with you who can differentiate or who can identify things in plain sight? APTs may go dormant, do remember, can go dormant for weeks or months, waking only briefly to re-establish the C2 connections, exfiltrate data in small batches, update malware or expand their controls. Now, why does this work? Intermittent activity is harder to catch than constant traffic. Now, a scenario, think through. You have been monitoring with extra eyes, extremely skilled and talented people, super efficient, top of the shelf tools, and nothing is noticed. Then we have a holiday time, a Christmas time. You let the guard off for the whole year, 360 days. 5 days of pleasure, letting your heart down. That's where an APT might come from dormant, being dormant and to become active and start pushing on the data. This is an example because humans, we will let our head down eventually at some point of time. So, what's your process and mechanism that no one is sneaking at that point of time? Isn't that a possibility in your organization? You might have an expert who is there for during his work hours. You might have few more. But during a particular period when most of the experts are either on leave or not around, there's a window wherein a dormant activity comes into play. How do you ensure you're not caught off guard? All your hard work of 360 days is gone down the drain because 5 days you have left out. That's a real situation. It's a possibility. It has happened. It will happen. If it has not happened to you, it is possibly you are not aware. What's your situation? Well, tools used by APTs to stay undetected. The idea behind sharing these tools is from an organization perspective, you can bring in your SMEs who knows about this tool. Bring in experts who understand these tools. Example, the first one, the Mimics, it is used for stealing login credentials. The second one is for command and control. The third one is moving across the network. The fourth is survive reboots. The fifth is hiding malware. Sixth is for extracting data, and seventh is for avoiding detection. These are tools I have listed, but these are not a comprehensive list. There are many more and evolving. The idea behind sharing this is that organization can study these, look at the pattern, look at their mechanism, look at their signatures, look at how it works, and think through what strategy the organization is building to know when these are in play, when these techniques are at play or these tools are at play. So you can do a reverse engineering, or you can put a strategy, a policy, a skill set, a resource who can easily or better identify when these actors are at play using these tools and techniques. So that's the objective of me sharing this. Think through about it. You can take a screenshot of this or you can list it out and see how many of your resources are aware of these. How skilled are they? Can they identify when there is a login credential being stolen, or when there is a command and control activity in play, or when there is a malware which is hidden, or when there is data extraction going on? Now the question arises, why traditional defense often fail? Well, traditional defenses are signature based AV. They can't detect custom or polymorphic malware. SIEM alerts may get drowned in noise or misclassified as false positive. Lack of visibility into east west traffic and encrypted data transfers. If you don't know your data pattern, how traffic moves between systems, between organization, between branches, you would not know what abnormal traffic means, what it looks like. Generally, organizations are weak at this space. They might have good systems which are monitoring the systems, but when it comes to traffic monitoring, they might not have a knowledge base, a baseline as to what a normal traffic is or are. The complexities, these are not just traffic between locations or branches or between your branch office to head office, it's also between systems. So if you're watching your network link for abnormal traffic, you would get certain aspect, but you might have lost the big picture because the traffic might be moving within the system, between two systems kept in the same data center. What's your visibility on those traffics? Think through about it. In summary, APT actors succeed by acting like insiders, using legitimate tools, minimizing their footprint, and adapting constantly to defenses. This silent infiltration and stealthy persistence are what makes them so dangerous and so hard to detect. You can pause here, think through this topic. With this, we have reached end of part 1. We covered few aspects of it. We have a long way to go. So let's take a pause and think through what we have understood till now. You can take notes, you can run this video again, take your inputs, take the screenshots on aspects that matters to you or you feel can be built on. Do note, these are all indicative. These are things for your planning, for your strategy, and for students it's for learning. Let's meet again in part